It's time now for Visit Sedona TV with Alan Elfman. How can it be a TV show on radio? Because it's also filmed to be uploaded on the internet at visitsedona.tv. This is where you'll find out what's happening in Sedona. Best places to see, best places to eat, and best places to shop. And now, here's your host, Alan Elfman.
We have media, and I love it because people consider him controversial, people consider him a threat. There's so many ways, and I embrace it all because, I mean, he's been one of the pioneers of internet news here in Sedona, Arizona, and that's going to be Carl Jackson, and that's what Sedona.Biz. Hello! Well, we had Bill Baker from Arizona Tours. Now we have Carl Jackson from Sedona.Biz, and I know he's just been holding his tongue, biting Go ahead. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. But you said you...
Well, no. I mean, you gave me an intro. Sedona.Biz, that controversial news site. So I wanted to... Or immediately my mind started to go, and I'm like... Except for one thing that's happening today, and it does happen a little bit, I don't consider Sedona.Biz to be controversial at all. And when I get up in the morning, when I start the week, I don't think, how can I be controversial this week? I basically say, that's your job, exactly. I basically say, what's the news this week? What are we going to report? Much of our stuff is, art exhibits that are happening at galleries and movies.
Everything what to do in here.
And what people are doing here. But there are controversial events and issues that are bubbling up. So we're reporting those controversies. So, like I said, except for one thing, I feel like we're just a mirror to the community. So if we're controversial...
That's their perception.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I wanted to footnote that as, and it's not so much controversial to the viewers as in to other media. Your website, my show, we are considered controversial because we have this no frills, no BS, It is what it is, We're not going to sit there and sugarcoat it for people. It's their perception.
Right. I mean, there's a freedom of speech issue. I mean,
Isn't that the First Amendment?
First Amendment, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you. I mean, today is actually a good day to have me on because this week... City Council member Mark Sterling resigned or tendered his resignation. I guess it'll be officially noticed on next
28th.
Tuesday.
Yeah, April 28th.
April 28th. But that article, I thought we wrote a great article. We love Mark Sterling. But we did get some comments that were potentially controversial. However, I felt that they were fair game. In fact, the first one was the first comment, wouldn't you know, said "good riddance," 1 of 6. Okay, so it had nothing against Mark Sterling. It was they want all 6 off, or more 6 more off.
Yeah.
But I think the controversy, and I did highlight it in the opening, was this issue about keeping comments anonymous or not anonymous. I allow people to sign their comments if they want to, but if they don't want to, and I always have veto rights over any comment that's posted. I will allow people to post anonymously, and that probably is considered in this town a controversial practice.
Right, because, I mean, and I'm just being objective, but there are some people who could potentially say, oh, well, that's just you writing it in there instead of saying people like, I think it was comment number 10, the only one with balls enough to actually say, and that was Tom Stanley.
Tom Stanley signed,
from
absolutely.
the Sedona Eccentric.
Right.
And I'm going to be the first one to tell you, and I'm separating this. This is not going to be endorsed by nor encouraged by Sedona.Biz. This is my own free comment that I'm about to say. But you want to leave a comment, grow some balls, own it. put your name on it. If you have that much vindictiveness or controversy within yourself or some opinion, stand up for yourself. You're sitting here putting down someone who has served this community for a long time, and I'm not talking about just city council. I'm talking about with the schools, with the tax credit, even with he's even a coach to the baseball team. These are not paid positions. These are the things that he has volunteered, and he's been an extreme asset to the community. And if you do want to comment on his resignation, why don't you understand one of two things? A, one of the reasons he resigned is to spend more time with his family and pursue his movie.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And when I resigned from the Board of Education, it was for my family. If you're not going to serve, and personally, he deserves kudos for that, because if you're not going to serve the community to its fullest potential, then you should resign.
I mean, let me just say I have sort of three comments on this just to go over what you've said. The first one is that just because those comments aren't all signed, it doesn't mean those people weren't willing to have their name disclosed. The way I've structured my forum comments is if people don't sign, I won't publish it, and they may not sign their comments. It may not, if I had asked them and write them back and say, "Do you want your signature?" they may be okay. Secondly, I just want to say one thing. Even though we had a few negative comments, it spurred a slew of positive comments. It really galvanized those people who took exception to the negative comments, and we got a ton of positive comments that we wouldn't have gotten had we not published those original negative comments. So it's a slippery slope. I'm concerned that not everyone will feel free to express themselves if they feel their names disclosed. Not everybody wants to be out in the public eye. They want their opinions to be expressed, but they're not willing to have the ramifications of what it might mean to have their name attached.
Well, I just look at it. I mean, I've been under a lot of scrutiny lately, and I'll be damned if I'm not going to sit there and make a comment. I mean, granted, I'm in the public eye, but if people have a comment about me, I'm not going to sit there and judge you. This is America. Freedom of speech. No one should condemn you for your opinion or for your thoughts. Just speak up, but don't be afraid, oh, gee, you're going to be scrutinized for this. If you leave a comment, own it. Embrace your thoughts. That's what I say. So we've only got a couple of minutes left, and then we're going to take a short commercial break.
Sure.
And then we're going to come back. But I just want to give people a little teaser. You printed something.
Right, to show you that I give equal time to all negative comments. Sedona.Biz got blasted pretty bad this week with a long, scathing email from a Sedona resident, Terry Nash. He signed. He was out there, and we published that thing in full. And it was scathing.
And what's funny about this, just for those of you who are listening, there's a difference between editorial rights, but Carl's been consistent with freedom of speech. You want to say it. It's not like you are going to duck and say, oh, gee, let me just
if someone wants to blast us, that's fine. I mean, obviously, if they start to get really unruly and slander, but if it's someone's opinion, we will publish it. But it's interesting, if you read why Terry Nash wrote the letter he did, it was in response to things we wouldn't publish. So, we do use our judgment as best we can on what we will and will not publish.
Editorial rights, isn't that right?
I mean, we're trying to be fair.
Okay.